Hello, guys. This is Pinky, the housewife, and also I'm carrying this on my other two channels, the original Pinky and then Pink Global. I just came in to tell you all there's an active shooter on in Atlanta campus, Emory Atlanta campus. It's an active shooter. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it to you live right quick. Let me just put up a trigger warning just in case, because I don't know what's going to be seen, what's going to be said. I don't know. So I better just put it up anyway. Let me just go ahead and get that for you all. Today is August 8th, which is Friday. Um, it started not too long ago. It's new. So let me see. Some got it going on. Let me see. Uh 1 hour ago, maybe, or just over an hour ago. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it is. Let me I'm bring it from several different stations from you for you. Let me just go ahead and get the first one up so we can see it from all angles, okay? All perspectives. Okay, here it is.
Approach the front of this building there, right at the intersection.
I'm going to mute
That
myself right quick.
signal's frozen here for a moment, but it still shows you that this is still very active as those officers, Cody, were making that move.
If it's Monday, Congress returns after another violent weekend of mass shootings across America. I'll speak with the top Senate negotiator on gun reform talks in Washington in just a moment as lawmakers signal
have seen and heard things certainly they should not have heard. We did see ambulances outside as well as a number of other emergency vehicles. Again, we have not at this hour received any reports of injuries other than what we have already reported, that one officer has died, that the suspected shooter has died. We are working to figure out who else,
I did not know I
anyone
was
else,
muted,
may have been
guys.
hurt as a result. But what we do know
I
is
committed
based
to
on
the
the information that
journey.
our reporters have brought to
This
us,
is
that
sad news to hear. This
what
has to
people have had
stop.
time to
Yes, it just
absorb,
happened about an hour or
what
so
people have had
ago.
to process,
Hi,
that is unfortunately
TNT.
not going
Thank
to
you
go
for
away
being here
anytime
too.
soon. When you see a
This
scene
do
like
need to
this,
stop.
when you hear rapid gunfire, which is what people had described to us, when you look at the images like a bullet hole in your office window, those are images that unfortunately are going to stick with the people who were impacted by this today for a very long time.
We have a team of reporters out there today talking with witnesses about what they saw and heard. We know that our Atlanta News first investigator, Anastasia, almost also spoke with someone out there about what they heard, what they saw, and that person described it as some kind of shootout. So that certainly will be something that we'll be asking about when this news conference begins. It looks like we may be getting closer to that just a few minutes
Look
ago.
like they're getting ready to do it now.
You know that Atlanta police did say that they were staging for an area for a news conference, so they may be getting closer to that.
And guys,
Atlanta
I'm
City
catching
Mayor
this
Archie
just like
Wilkins
you
out
are.
on the
Same
scene as well,
time.
talking with law enforcement, getting that information, and then just a few minutes after that, that's when we had confirmed with our sources that a law enforcement officer is dead after this active shooter situation that's unfolded here today.
And we have our reporter, Niamani Watson, standing by. She is at the staging area where we are expected really any moment now, Niamani, to get an update from law enforcement. Have you heard anything at this point? We know everybody there anxiously watching and waiting to get more details about what occurred here this evening.
Right. Again, we are waiting for officials to give a statement. We're here at the Kroger on Briarcliff Road, where we're expected to hear from the Atlanta Police Department. We also know Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens is on scene. We're not sure if we're going to get a statement from him during the press conference. We are waiting to hear from officials because, again, we do have a lot of questions. I know everyone has a lot of questions on what unfolded here at the Emory campus, but I do want to reiterate a statement Mayor Dickens put out earlier today saying his thoughts are with the DeKalb County police officer who we now know has died in today's incident near Emory University. He says he's grateful for the swift response of all law enforcement agencies who work together to secure the scene and protect the public. Now, again, we are still waiting on officials to speak about the incident, like what led to the shooting, what unfolded, also the identities of that officer and the suspect as well. We'll continue to keep you updated and let you know the moment we hear from officials. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Niamani, we hope to be checking back with you here shortly so that we can get the official response to what took place.
And this took place in front of a lot of people here today. Being a Friday afternoon, our best guess at this point was around 5 o'clock when Emory University, the campus, sent out this alert, and there was an intense warning from law enforcement, from campus officials, telling people to run, hide, fight, stay away. And we saw the response by law enforcement then, just a few minutes after that, with their guns out, and they had a very intense warnings to people in that community. And then as this unfolded, we heard from people who heard the rounds of gunfire and saw what happened. And so this playing out on a Friday afternoon, right when most people are headed home, certainly impacting a lot of people who have concerns about what's unfolded.
Oh, we heard from parents who were just trying to pick up their children from a nearby daycare. And we saw from reporter Andy Parati showing us those images, just how close that playground, that daycare is to where this shooting took place. And there are so many different, because of where this shooting took place, there are so many different people impacted. We know that there were people there at the CDC. We know that there are hospital workers nearby, the employees of the CVS, as Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho had talked about, parents. So really so many people impacted just by the location of this because so many different things going on, restaurants nearby. Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe, he is standing by live for us now. All right, Brendan, have you learned any other further details? Want to check back in with you now.
Yeah, we are waiting for the confirmation of exactly which agency is involved because so many agencies are here, not only on the scene, which is about a quarter mile this way, but also here at Emory Hospital behind me. We are seeing sheriff's deputies and also from different, by the way, counties, DeKalb County and also Fulton County are filing in to the hospital. And we've seen a lot of people hugging. At this point, we do not know the agency. And because we don't know that the officer's next of kin has been notified, we are obviously going to wait for that official word of which agency, because we know law enforcement families are watching and we want to keep that in mind. Let's just take a brief walk if we can. I just want to show you, there's going to be quite a bit of light change, and I apologize here. There's all these different police vehicles. Can we step this way?
Ooh.
I just want to show you just how massive a scene we're talking about, because it stretches for, gosh, a half mile, as far as the eye can see here, all the way down. You've got police vehicles from DeKalb County Sheriff, from the GSP.
Guys, please hit the like button
Atlanta,
coming in.
Fulton County. We've seen some from
And
Dunwoody, from Sandy Springs, a tremendous amount
show
of law
your
enforcement.
support
And
by
the way,
letting
as
me
this
know
car
you're
passes,
here
use
by
that as an
hitting the
opportunity
like
to
button
right to show it
and
extends further down the
putting
block. We've
something
got
in the
even
chat so
more,
I know you're here.
here. This was an all hands on deck situation here. I'll step in just so we
But
don't have
this
to walk all the way
information
back
is
to where
new
we
to me,
were.
just like it
All
is
hands
to
on deck
you.
situation, as you
I
know.
just
We
happened
also
to
have
catch it
two different
so
police
I can put it
helicopters
up.
overhead. I'm one of the station's drone pilots. I've been flying a drone professionally for over 10 years. I was going to get the drone up until I saw just how low flying the police helicopters are. I'm looking at a Hughes 500 OH3 flying over. It's well below 500 feet, so we just couldn't get the drone up. to give you some of those aerial shots. We've been relying on our news helicopter. So
They haven't done the news conference
caution and
yet.
safety. And the other thing we don't want to do is get in the way of a law enforcement response. It's a
There's
serious
police
situation. We have
everywhere
a police officer who is
at this
dead. We have
hospital.
a suspect who is dead. We have
on
possibly other
campus.
injured and other casualties that we may be learning about as we get more details. This is going to be a major investigation, and as we've already reported, we've seen just
My
stepping
prayers
side
are going
door
out to
to a
all the
single
families.
trooper passing by. And this is important to point out that the GSP is not an investigative agency in terms of major crimes. They're a highway patrol first and foremost. The GBI is the state's investigating agency. That's the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They are an invitation agency. They have to be invited in. You see them on major cases like this. You see them on almost every law enforcement involved shooting. And in a moment, we are going to show you some video that we've obtained. Anastasia Olmos is going to break that down. But we do know that because of that video, there was definitely a shootout in the streets outside of that CVS with police officers taking cover and firing multiple rounds. We do know that's confirmed. And unfortunately, we also know that we've lost an officer here tonight. We've also got a suspect who is down, so we may.
I don't know what's going on, but
to interview. But as the governor said, that suspect was neutralized by police who were clearly stepping into the line of fire to protect the public. That's what we know right here, right now at Emory Hospital. I'm Brendan Keefe, Chief Investigator, Atlanta News First Investigates.
the
Brendan, thank you for
active
that live report.
shooter was at
Team coverage
Emory
continues now.
College.
Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn,
Emory
who's
Atlanta
also
College.
out there on scene. And Patrick, I'm sorry, kind of hang with us for a second, looking at these live pictures.
Blair, do you see this person in handcuffs right here in the red shirt? Do you see the person in handcuffs? We see surrounding him. He is clearly in handcuffs. It looks like he's detained. A number of officers are surrounding him. Not sure his role in this. Obviously not. We need to learn a lot more about who this person is and how he's involved, but certainly he is in handcuffs, detained by, it looks like, officers from the Atlanta Police Department. They're checking his pants right now. They're searching him as it looks right now. This white man, red shirt in the middle of your screen, brown hair. We just saw him walk out and he was escorted by roughly 10 or so officers leaving the site of the CDC. We're still trying to gather intel on who this man is. This is the first person that we have seen detained by officers today. We are certainly trying to learn more about him. He's got his back to us right now, as you can see him. And surrounding him are those officers. We'll continue to watch this scene here. This would suggest that the investigation, if this is someone involved in the shooting, obviously we have heard that one of the shooters, if there is just one, is dead. So certainly not sure this person's involvement, but we're continuing to watch this investigation play out right in front of us, right here on Clifton Road, as that person was just put into the back of a police unit. We'll continue to watch this scene closely, Blair, but I certainly wanted to alert our viewers as they are watching. This is the first person we have seen detained connected to this shooting. So we're starting to learn more about what is happening here, but that's the latest here from the scene.
And we also want to use caution, as these situations unfold. The great thing about having a team of reporters out there is that
there's a lot of police out there
like this. So we don't know what that situation is about, and we expect we'll get more information when this news conference gets going. The latest information we're getting is about.
Okay, they haven't done the news press.
We have a live image there of where the staging area is going to be. That's where our reporter Niamani Watson is waiting for further answers from law enforcement. And that's a great point, Blair, because we have been told so far that the suspected shooter is dead, but it is still unclear if only the suspected shooter was involved in
but they got somebody in handcuffs
today. So that is what we are hoping to learn more about. Again, just about 10 more minutes, we are told, until we can get some official word from law enforcement.
Clarity.
This has been very fluid. Investigators have been out there trying to piece all of this together and relay the information here to us, and that's what we are waiting for.
And if you are just joining us now for our continuing coverage of this breaking news situation unfolding, the latest information we have: a gunman at the Emory University Atlanta campus killed during a Friday shooting incident. That, from the information we're getting from law enforcement officials already for some of our sources, we know that an officer, an officer has also died after this shooting. That coming from sources who told Atlanta News First about that information. All this shooting taking place reported at Emory Point CVS, but we know that plenty of gunfire took place outside as well, as we've seen from some of the pictures, from some of the damage, from some of the witnesses who were working there at the CDC headquarters, which is not too far away. So a lot of questions about what happened leading up to this incident, what happened, earlier today, what happened at the CVS that we're talking about, that Emory Point CVS. But we know now, as we show you these live pictures, a number of law enforcement officers are on that scene from the investigation that is now underway.
And we have some new sound. We have investigative reporter Anastasia Olmos standing by. She is going to come in and brief us a little bit more.
Yeah, because you
Stasia,
got
who
one,
spoke
the
with
shooter
and what they
dead
were able to tell you.
on a
And
live,
I
but
was
then you
making
got
some
somebody
phone
in
calls around to
handcuffs.
businesses in the area
You want
just to
to make
check
it
on
make
how people
sense
were
to
doing,
us.
if they were on lockdown, what they saw. And I was able to speak with a local employee there at the Skinology. She said she heard the gunshots and she actually took a video from the door of her establishment, which is on the other side of the CVS in kind of a strip mall kind of parking lot area. I do want to warn our viewers that you are going to hear gunshots. You are going to see some of the
Okay.
officers, and it can be intense emotional moments. But go ahead and take a listen.
Oh, Lord. Ooh, that is
You can
gunshot.
see the officer there at the corner of the CVS is turning around the corner and shooting at someone or something there in the street. We do know that there have been injuries, there have been fatalities here, and so we don't know exactly if any of those gunshots did hit anyone. But I also want you to hear from her. Her name is Makia Jones. Listen to. We're actually going to play that here as soon as we can get to it. But I just wanted to describe kind of what she heard there. She said it happened in 2 rounds. She said about 4 gunshots each is what she initially heard coming from somewhere on the street. So she believes that must have been in front of the CVS. And then what she recorded there happened about 5 minutes after those initial gunshots, when she says the officers engaged in a shootout with someone on the other side. We are not sure if those officers were hit at all. She said she did not see that, but she did say that it has been quiet since. None of the officers have come up to her business and spoken with them. She says she called and canceled all the rest of the appointments. And she now is just trying to kind of process what she saw and what she heard. At the time, guys, she's just feet away from this taking place, and she did not know that anybody had actually died.
Having 2 different sets of gunfire.
She initially says she heard what she believed was an automatic repeating gunshot at least twice. She believes about 4 times each, for a total of around 8 to 10 gunshots. That was the initial of what she heard. And then this video that she took was at 5:03 p.m., where she said she heard and then looked and saw the police in this shootout where you heard those gunshots there that just kind of kept going as he turned around the corner.
And Anastasia, we know you and the rest of the Investigates team helped to coordinate actually a phone interview as well with another person from a nearby business who worked at a nearby restaurant. And this is falling in line a bit with what she said, where she said she heard at least 10 gunshots. And she said she was right next to this CVS, if not maybe just a few doors down, and all of her restaurant having to essentially shelter in place, hiding in the back of the kitchen. So what I think it sounds like is consistent across all of these reports is that there were several gunshots, at least 10 gunshots or close to it.
And are you hearing most of this was outside the CVS?
Right. So initially, when we looked at the footage of the officers pointing their guns, it looked like they were pointing into the CVS. And so originally we thought the shooting had occurred inside the CVS, which we don't know, where it may have led. But she, according to what she was filming right there, they were shooting, as you could see, onto the street. Something was right there on the street. And as we know, across from that CVS is the university and the CDC building. We did see those photos of the bullet holes in the windows of the CDC. So those original shots, we're not sure exactly where those went.
And I do want to kind of give a little perspective as to what we're seeing right now. This is across from the CVS, obviously on the other side where these shops and apartments are, but it's on the other side of this CVS. That's where Clifton Road is. And if you have been joining us here on Atlanta News First since the beginning, it is on the other side that you saw almost what looked like white columns and a staircase. And that is where we saw law enforcement positioning themselves. And Blair, at one point, we saw dozens of law enforcement officers, guns drawn, approaching the entrance from the other side. So where we are appearing to see a law enforcement officer engaging with someone or something, as you said, Anastasia, inside, it was on the other side that we saw law enforcement going up the stairs and entering the CVS through that way.
Hi, Carlton. Thank you for being here. Sweet Tea, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sweet Tea, for being here too. It's an active shooter in Atlanta at the Emory College in Atlanta. There's a lot of police officers because I think, but I'm quite sure that they said one is unalived. The shooter is unalived, and they got one person in handcuffs. And you can see on this screen right now, there's right by the CVS, there's one officer. I'll let you hear the gunshots.
And that is why these accounts from Atlanta News First viewers are so helpful, because it helps us to sort of paint this timeline as we wait to get.
So this is active. This is active going on now in Atlanta. So I'm going to just mute so we can, they haven't started the press conference yet. Not yet.
More word officially from law enforcement, but it allows us to paint a better picture of the scene there today.
You know, even one of my colleagues on the investigative team, Atlanta News First Investigates, we were sending out texts. We were, looking and searching, and one of our colleagues, he just messaged his friend that works at the CDC, and he had said, I'm hearing about this, and the friend hadn't heard anything about it yet.
Gosh.
I don't know exactly where that friend was, but an employee that works in the building had still not even heard when we had heard, and then that's when he forwarded us, some of the language that was going out about an active shooter and a lockdown. But this information coming out so fast, and us just making phone calls, trying to see, are people okay? Are you on lockdown? And that sushi restaurant that we spoke to earlier saying, yeah, we had customers in here. We were on lockdown, and as I was on the phone with her, a man was talking to her while I was on the phone with her, and she said it's the police. The police were talking to her as I was talking to her. And so we're really trying to learn what's going on as it's happening.
We are getting just little bits and pieces of information. As we have said, we know that an officer has lost their life today. We do not know which department they were with, but we have learned that everyone from the Atlanta Police Department is okay. Atlanta Police says all of their officers are all right. We do know they are leading now this investigation. So again, still unclear the identity of the officer, what department they were with, but we do know they were not from Atlanta Police.
We also know the suspected shooter is dead in all this. And so, but whatever else happened outside the CVS before or after the video Anastasia was showing us, what may have happened inside that CVS, because as you were pointing out, Carly, we saw law enforcement officers with their guns out, pointed at what looked like the front door of that CVS, aiming toward that. So it concerns me what was happening inside that store.
And Anastasia, I've just been told that we actually have the sound from who you spoke with. Let's go ahead and play that now.
Okay, great.
It wasn't until the police officers, it was like 4 to 5 police officers running back and forth trying to get him. And it was 3 who were really silent. But the main person that you can see, he was the main one shooting at the actual perpetrator. But there was like 2 to 3 other people that were there as well. And it was very distinctively like near semi-automatic, like back-to-back banging. So it's like do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It paused. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It paused again. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Like, I've never heard anything like that before.
Guys, when I finished that interview with her, the only thing I walked away with immediately in my head was the sound that she was making right there, the do-do-do-do-do, because she was replaying what she had heard in that video. And then she was explaining that the officers were going around the corner. You hear it there. And that was all that was replaying in her head. And these active shooter situations, I mean, can be so so jolting to whoever's watching and listening, and they don't know what's going on. But all she could see was officers ducking for cover there. She described at least 3 to 5 of them on this side of the CVS, and this is on the opposite side of that main street. And she said that this officer here that you see on the corner is shooting at someone standing in the street. She said she took this video at 5:03, about 5 minutes after she heard initial automatic, what she said sounded like several gunshots, is how she described it there, happening on the street there on that corner. Really powerful interview with her. She completely was composed and just said she told one of the customers, you know, hey, this just happened on the street, and I just want you to be safe, and canceled the rest of the appointments there. And she said, as of right now, there's still helicopters flying over. She said she can still hear them, and the street is still blocked off.
Anastasia Olmos with Atlanta News First Investigates. Thank you so much for getting that interview for us. We know that's a terribly difficult thing for someone to have to relay, as you mentioned, going through the shock of that situation and just trying to articulate it as best they can. We do have some breaking updates now that we have just learned.
Yeah, Carly, some information from CNN, and we are a CNN affiliate, so we're able to share some of this information and some of their reporting that police believe, after speaking with the shooter's family, that the CDC was the target. They go on to report that after speaking with the suspected shooter's family members, police are operating under the theory that he was either sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID-19 vaccine. A law enforcement official is telling that to CNN. And again, we're sharing that as a CNN affiliate. We're trying to confirm that with our sources as well. And it'll be interesting to see how far law enforcement goes in talking about that in this update that we're expecting here almost any minute. But again, that may be the theory that they're working under right now. That's information coming to CNN that perhaps the CDC was the target in all of this today. And that certainly tracks with what we saw with some of the gunfire that ended up at the CDC's headquarters and some of those windows, as employees shared some of those pictures with us, where you could see the gunfire had ended up over there, which is right outside, right next to where that CVS is, where we're focused on here tonight.
And maybe we can bring up those images so we can see, because as you said, Blair,
Those still pictures that, yeah. I
the
don't know if
still
we can bring
images that investigative reporter Andy Parati had covered. Our producer says they're working on getting those up for us now. So you can see here, at least one gunshot appears to have hit the window of a CDC office building. And this is directly across from where we see that massive law enforcement presence, directly across from that the CVS, I should say, where Anastasia pointed out in her video, where we saw police engaging with someone.
I know our investigator, Andy Parati, has been talking with employees at the CDC, and if we can get him back here, in fact, there he walks around the corner. I'd love to talk with you about this, Andy. I don't know if you were just reading up on some of this information that we're getting from CNN as a CNN affiliate about the theory that law enforcement is going under, saying that police have been talking with the shooter's family, and they believe that the CDC, under the theory, may have been the target in all this.
So as I was hearing that, I was talking to the producer saying we need to figure this out. We need to find out if this is true. And so right now, as we speak, we're sending a records request to the City of Atlanta Police Department asking for all incident reports, calls for service, to find out if at least law enforcement was notified. Now, we won't know if a threat was made to management at the CDC, for example. We have no idea. But we are actively trying to confirm that information ourselves. CDC is an affiliate of ours, so we're obviously going to take their word for it at the moment, but we're going to do our due diligence as well. One of the things that you're looking at right now is that picture that we got at just after 5 p.m. And we were talking earlier, one of the things that really just brought chills to us is, and we didn't even notice it the first time, you're looking at a picture from Building 24 in the CDC campus, and it's really close to the daycare. And the reason why we know that is if you zoom into that picture, right, the one that you're looking at right now, you can see the playground of that daycare. That's how close that bullet came to that daycare. We've seen other pictures posted on a CDC employee signal channel of multiple pictures similar to that, where you can see that the daycare was so close to so many bullet holes. And we're going to be looking into that, trying to get confirmation from those other pictures. We're not showing those other pictures. There you go, right there. Look at that. I didn't even notice it the first time. When I shared it on TV about an hour ago, I had a CDC employee friend of mine text me and say, hey, zoom into that picture. And as soon as I saw that, it brought chills down my spine because that's how close. And we know children were in that building, in that daycare at that time because Patrick, as you just saw with that really compelling interview with that mother who was distraught waiting for her kids, they were still in there when we were reporting about this and in there when that shooting was happening.
Andy, I know you've been talking with employees of the CDC. Have you been able to circle back with them about some of this information that we're getting about the CDC potentially being?
Guys, I got something else I want to show you as they get ready for this press conference. Hi, to be real. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming in. Let me just, we're going to stay with this channel, but I want to show you all, let me just get to it right now. This is also the same thing, the shooting at the campus.
Federal government about losing their jobs. And so we don't want to make any references of why this happened or anything, but I just want to point out that the CDC employees are going through this. This is added stress and anxiety of something that they're on top of all the other things that they're dealing with at an agency that has seen huge layoffs and even more to come.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are getting word now that Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens is arriving to the scene of this press briefing. We also know that Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum is there. So really any moment now, we should be expecting those updates that they have been telling us now.
Well, let me just do this. I'm going to bring this back up, guys. I'm going to bring that one back up in just a second. Where is it? Right here. Here, this is a different one. Outlet. I just want to see what they press conference coming up. Shooter target CDC building over C-19 vaccine. Lord of mine. People have lost their minds. Yeah, people have lost their minds. Okay. Let me make a correction, guys. I don't ask for an officer being deceased. That may not be correct. That may not be correct. So let me do a correction. An officer is being injured, but we don't know whether, I don't know whether officer has been unalive, but the perpetrator have been pow and unalive. But we're going to get more information because information been coming out so fast from different channels. One said he was an officer deceased, and one said not now. So I'm going to just say I don't know. We're going to wait until we hear the press conference. With the press conference, we get all the information. Okay? She must be getting everybody ready. This lady here in this beautiful outfit she got on. She must be organizing everything. BAC, good evening, Miss Pinkie and Chad. Good evening. Thank you for being here. This is live. Well, isn't that shooter a little too late if it's due to the C-19 vaccine? Isn't he a little too late? Wanda, hi. Thinking that you for this news. I haven't heard. Yeah, we're waiting on the press conference now, guys. As soon as they get it all set up, um, we've been going back and forth through different. There must be another one I still got planned. Okay, I did have another one still planned, and this one muted. But anyway,
Thank you. Over there on Twitch, LB Prairie Dawn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3. Sorry. On Twitch, LB Prairie Dawn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3. Thanks for moderating. McBritches, Sarah, Surly Dev, Sabrina, Ruth Krafasi. Over there on
sorry about that, guys.
YouTube, and all of our other YouTube moderators, Beth Mythical, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, Shannon Davis Hughes, Valerie Gail Griffin,
channels,
Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry,
news
Bobby,
outlet, so I forgot which one I had
on
muted.
Facebook. Thank you so much. And any other mods I might be missing. Thanks also on Facebook. MG Mance and Pam Kanegi. And a couple quick thank yous while I have the time. Thank you to Hermit Ersatz, PZ Papazulu, Pat W, Jean-Paul Lachance, George Rourke, Mitchell Pilot, DeShark, Mama 457 Rose, Mike R8242, Simbex 007, PH Survivor, Texas Country Girl, High Hippie Sevenfold, Rimfire Channel, TG. Okay, here we go. It's about to start, I think.
I think it is.
It's about to start the press conference.
Let me check the other channel right quick.
Okay, ready?
Here we go.
Good evening. My name is Andre Dickens. I'm the mayor of the city of Atlanta. I'm joined here today by Atlanta Police Department Chief Shearbaum, Atlanta Fire Rescue Chief Smith, as well as FBI SAC Brown to my right, and the DeKalb County PIO Officer
Let me do
Wells.
something, guys. We're going to hear it. I want to pick it up on this other channel right quick. We're going to pick it up right where we left off at. Okay? Let me just right back where we just left off at. Just give me 1 second.
Individuals and teams that are here that's been on scene for the last.
Was an experienced officer, or at least a well-trained one, from the video that we see, because you don't see an emptying of a magazine. You're also doing this.
Details regarding that. 2 hours, as I've witnessed the coordination amongst many of this active shooter incident that occurred today on the campus of Emory University, just off site of the CDC and next to this CVS pharmacy. This active shooter incident started this afternoon, and Chief Shearbaum will give you some of the details regarding that. I witnessed over the last 2 hours a very coordinated response. A lot of training had to go into how these men and women of Emory University, the DeKalb County Police, the FBI, the City of Atlanta Police, Fire and Rescue from both DeKalb and the City of Atlanta, the GBI, Georgia State Patrol. I saw officers coming from all over to be able to respond to this incident. At this time, Chief Shearbaum will give you more of the details, but at this time, The shooter is deceased, and we don't have any civilians that have been shot in this active shooter incident. Thank God for that. We do have a DeKalb County officer that was also shot. And at this very moment, the CEO of DeKalb County, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, as well as the police chief of DeKalb County, are at the hospital right now, meeting and talking with individuals, the families, and other officers that were involved having to respond to this emergency situation. They will shortly come to this very same spot to give a press conference and an update on that officer and that incident. And at this time also, on the CDC's campus, there are 92 children that are in a daycare that is on this campus. They are safe, and we are setting up with the CDC and all connected parties to be able to get those families reunited with those children at a local school very nearby. And we have the address of that. The chief will give you the specific address and name of that school nearby. So we are working to unify families. And at this time, there have been no civilian casualties, but this was an active shooter incident. The shooter is now deceased. The campus is, there are no threats on the campus currently, but we still have an active investigation. Atlanta Police Department will be the investigating party. And so we ask that while things are safe, that you don't drive in that part of campus, because we need to make sure that the investigation goes through without any obstruction. Again, to the men and women that work at the CDC, we know that you've had a tough go of it in the past year, and my heart goes out to you as uncertainty was around your occupation and you being citizens of Atlanta. That means something to me. And then today, this occurs. We are with you. We stand with you, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we bring resolve to this situation. And FBI SAC Brown, he may be able to tell you more about some of the windows that might have been shot on various floors of the CDC as gunfire did take place. The other thing is, to those parents of those 92 children that are at the CDC, I'm a parent as well. I know your uncertainty and your fear and your concern has been high. We wanted to come give you this message that all the children are safe, and that we will be making sure that you get reunited with them as soon as possible. I know your heart is just really, really aching, but the good news is none of them have been injured, and we will get you connected to those, to your loved ones really soon. I'll come back to this microphone after others will be given a chance to speak. Now I turn it over to Chief Darren Shearbaum, as Atlanta Police Department has been in coordination with all the other outstanding agencies as we've been working together. And this is why we train on active shooter drills, et cetera, around this region. This has been a group project and a coordinated effort. And Darren Shearbaum, the Atlanta Police Chief, will now address you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just give you an update and some additional information what the mayor provided. So this afternoon at approximately 4:50, the Atlanta 911 Center became aware of a report of an active shooter that was occurring at 1600 Clifton Road. This is right at the intersection of Clifton Road and CDC Parkway, immediately in front of the CDC campus. Officers from multiple agencies responded, from the campus, across the region, from our federal partners and our state partners responded to the scene. Officers arriving found a critically injured DeKalb County police officer that was down. He was immediately extracted from the scene and taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. Officers could still hear gunfire occurring inside the CVS drugstore that is right there at the intersections. Officers moved quickly to attempt to find the shooter and to neutralize the threat to the community. We later found the shooter on the second floor of the CVS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted. He was removed from the location by Atlanta Fire Rescue to render aid. He did pass at the scene. We also know that the CDC campus did receive multiple rounds into their buildings. Right now, as the mayor stated, we are not aware of any injury that occurred to anyone on that location. 4 other individuals did later arrive at the hospital. They were retreated for stress and anxiety symptoms. They were not injured in the shooting. And to reemphasize what the mayor stated, the children in the daycare center are unharmed. We have law enforcement and medical professionals with them, and we are coordinating the return of those children to their families. We've already put this out. We want to reemphasize it. The CDC leadership is communicating this to all parents but the reunification site is at the Clifton School, which is located at 1900 Starvine Way, Starvin Way in Decatur. And we want to again reassure all parents and loved ones that their children are okay. We do believe there was a single shooter, and we do believe that single shooter is deceased. Right now, the investigation is being conducted by the Atlanta Police Department's Complex Case Squad, by the GBI and the FBI in a joint investigation until we know more information as to what transpired. The Atlanta Police Department is lifting up the DeKalb County officer, the DeKalb County Police Department in our prayers, and I ask everyone that is watching this broadcast to do the exact same thing. And I want to commend the men and women of law enforcement from all across this region that when this community needed them, no one shirked from the danger. And every officer from multiple districts responded and immediately moved to end this threat. Thank you.
I am Paul Brown, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Atlanta Division. And like the Chief and the Mayor said, we immediately responded to the scene. At this time, we're not aware of any casualties on the campus of the CDC, but in conjunction with our partners, we're methodically clearing that to ensure that that is accurate and that is remains so. And then once that's done, we'll assist with processing the scene and conducting the investigation jointly with our partners.
Mayor, Chief, we'll get ready for questions. We'll start on this side. We may not be able to get to everyone, but we'll start with you, Rob, over to the mayor's right.
Right.
Good evening, Mayor. Is it believed right now that the CDC was targeted in this attack?
Well, I'll let Chief Sherbaum ask anything around the investigation. He'll be able to answer that. But right now, it's so preliminary. I read social media and I get calls from a number of you that have heard things about this individual's background. He's a white male, and he has he is a known person that may have some interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now with any confidence until the investigation is fully conducted. But I think that in a short order, you'll know more about this individual and about some assumptions of his motives, but can't say right now.
All right. Can you tell us anything more about the suspect? What kind of weapon did he use? How many rounds went into the CDC building?
Chief, you want to?
Not yet. We can tell you multiple rounds were fired. We can tell you that multiple rounds were fired, both we believe at law enforcement and potentially at the CDC. Purposely, we can't say it definitively, but it would appear we can't rule that out right now.
Is that CVS a two-story store, or was he in some other kind of place above the store?
We believe it's a multiple-story building, but he was on the second floor of the building that houses the CVS.
Does he have a criminal record?
We can't release that at this time.
Did the man live in that building?
Allow me to let someone else ask a question. Anyone over here at New York Times?
So this shooting comes on the heels of a few other high-profile shootings, including the one at Fort Stewart, including numerous on Edgewood and some other neighborhoods. I'm curious to what extent can the city confront what seems to be a rash of gun violence without state-level intervention?
So your question around a number of high-profile shootings, Fort Stewart, here at Emory, and others across the nation and in the state of Georgia, is definitely one that we have to pay attention to. Mass shootings, active shooter scenarios should not become the norm. We have a number of individuals in this country that have access to high-powered weapons, and for individuals with those high-powered weapons that may have mental challenges, or those individuals with high-powered weapons that are angry, when they choose to use those weapons in a way that harms multiple people, we have to put an end to that in our society. So this is something we do have to have a national and a state, a full conversation across the nation and across the state of Georgia, not just in one city. As you see, this is a coordinated effort across DeKalb, across college campuses, the FBI, the GBI. As you see active shooters across the nation, we've just been added to the statistic.
Right here in black shirt. Allow her.
We're hearing that the officer has to leave.
Well, at this time, it is a DeKalb County officer, and we want to make sure that DeKalb County is able to respond to what's going on with that officer. We know that he was shot and critically injured, and at this time, as I stand here, I can't give you that information that you just asked. We have the PIO of DeKalb County here, And as I said, in short order, you will hear from the DeKalb County Chief and the DeKalb County CEO.
Over here. Can I ask, why was the DeKalb officer there? I know this area is kind of on that border, but just talk about that maybe to Chair Von Moore, you, Mr. Mayor.
I want to talk about how mutual aid and how we're all kind of together.
This is an area that is part of the city limits, but inside of DeKalb County, so it's not uncommon for patrol patterns to cross for multiple jurisdictions that may share the space. We don't know why the officer was there. Was he going to work? Was he coming home from work? We don't know if he was on patrol. We will know that at the end of the investigation.
Do you want to give up here?
So we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter. Yes. Yes, we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter.
Can you give an update on the condition? There have been several media reports of this past week.
So we can't confirm that at this time. Like Mayor said previously, our interim chief Pedrick will be here to provide an update. I just don't have that information readily available.
Ryan, over here, Ryan. So we both Chief and Mayor, if you can, we're getting reports that maybe the suspect who was known had some issues with the CDC because he was upset about the COVID vaccine. He thought it made him sick. Is there any way you guys can maybe address that, and maybe if he was targeting the CDC because of the vaccine?
We cannot confirm at this time. This is in the earliest stages of the investigation. The same questions you have, law enforcement has. And so everything that is the question of the nation, we're going to get the answer to, and we'll be able to report back as soon as we can.
Univision.
We're hearing this maybe for the staff, but was this officer a rookie officer? Because basically he's almost ambushed when he actually arrived on the scene.
So any information about the officer will come from interim chief Pedrick later this evening, including his status and how long he was with the department.
All right. Is the white car with the trunk open and shot up, is that connected to the suspect?
It's part of the crime scene at this time. We can't confirm if it was the car that the suspect drove, but it is being searched by the police and it's being held as evidence.
We're going to take the last question right here. Do you guys have a timeline of when the gunfire was called in and how quickly officers responded and how quickly the suspect was essentially?
4:50 p.m. is when the first call came in. Law enforcement arrived very, very quickly thereafter. Oftentimes when officers arrive, they're so quickly engaged in the scene they can't radio out. So we'll be reviewing all video to determine when the first officers arrived. But the response was from multiple agencies. I wish I could name everyone right now, but the citizens of the Atlanta region should be proud of their law enforcement today.
Yeah, as Chief stated, this was a coordinated effort. When I was here around 5:15 or so, I was seeing not only DeKalb County and Atlanta, we were seeing Gwinnett County. We saw officers from Dunwoody. We saw, of course, Emory, the FBI, GBI, Georgia State Patrol. Everyone was responding because there were shots being fired, calls for shot being fired right there in front of the CDC, and then shots fired inside of the CVS. And so you're hearing, everyone responded. It was hundreds of officers as well as fire rescue. And at this time, we've spoken with Emory President Finvez, as well as all of the individuals at the CDC, the leadership there, and the leadership of DeKalb County, et cetera. Everyone will continue to give updates throughout this evening. This very same spot will be utilized by DeKalb County as they return from the hospital really soon, as they're talking with families. And as more information becomes available that we can share about the suspect that is now deceased, we will make sure that we share that because we want you to know the mindset, what might have led to this so that we never have it happen again. We want right now to give this update that the area is clear, no threats continue to exist, and we're going to start reuniting families with those children that are in that daycare. And again, the campus has the all clear sign. Stay out of that area right there in front of the CDC and where the CVS is, because it is an active investigation that's being led by APD in coordination with FBI, GBI, and of course with DeKalb County there. That's it at this time.
Thank you, everyone. For any updates, please make sure you follow the Atlanta Police Department social media. That's where we will have updates. That's also where we will let you know where we will have.
We have been listening to a press briefing from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, as well as Atlanta Police Department Chief Darren Shearbaum, giving us the latest on what took place today. They say the call came in about an active shooter around 4:50 this evening. We know the suspected shooter is dead. And we have Atlanta News First Patrick Quinn on the scene. He's going to debrief us more on what we heard from that press briefing.
Yeah, Patrick, a lot of the information is information we've already been reporting, but those children now being reunited, those 92 children, none of them hurt, now about to be reunited with their parents.
And I was able to talk with one of those parents who was just hovering around the scene, just waiting for over an hour, just waiting for the status of his child. And he just learned that he's now able to reunite, reconnect with that child. He told me that they're actually still inside the CDC right now, the children are, but he's now meeting up with his wife to then meet up with his child. So relieved parents here on scene outside of the CDC. Also wanted to clear up a couple things, right? As Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and as Fire Chief Rod Smith were leaving the scene here, heading to the press conference that you just heard from, I was able to have the mayor roll down his window, and I asked him, were any APD officers injured in this? And he said no. And so we heard a lot more about that during the press conference. The last thing I wanted to update is we showed you some images earlier of a man in a red shirt who was detained at the time, surrounded by officers and ushered into a police unit.
I'm glad he's bringing that up, guys, because the shooter is unalive, but they did detain a man, put him in handcuffs. He was in handcuffs. A white male with his hands behind him in cuffs. So I've just been waiting on them to say, who is he? How is he connected to this? Nobody mentioned him. So we want to know.
Actually was watching that all play out. I continued to watch it, and he later got out of that police unit. His handcuffs were removed, and he actually came over to the side here. So I went up to him, I introduced myself, I tried to get a better sense of his role in all of this, and he said it was all a mistake. Officials initially thought he was connected to the shooter, so they detained him on site. He was in the parking lot, sitting in his car as all of this was playing out, and he said multiple officers thought he was connected with the shooter, so they detained him at the time. They walked him, ushered him with other officers around him, as you saw on our cameras, and they put him into the back of a police unit. Then they looked into his background, his history. They recognized that he was an employee of the CDC. So it was all a mistake. I did want to stress to him that.
So it was a mistake. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Seemed like for the people that did see that during the press conference, I think they should have mentioned that. Okay. Quite sure if it was somebody else, they would have mentioned it. And probably still wouldn't have not cleared him right away. Just give me a break. I just want to know everything. I'm just nosy.
We could not tell that at the time. And so we did not want to misconnect him to his potential role in this incident. And he said he understood how it looked from his perspective. He also felt like there was a lot of pressure on him, but he also.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I'm eating chips. I thought I was muted. I'm eating some potato chips. I'm sorry. I mute myself.
Recognize the role of law enforcement at this point, and they couldn't take anything for granted. So they were certainly doing their due diligence. So I wanted to just break down a few of the things that we're still learning here on scene. And we'll continue to track things right outside the CDC. We're seeing some officers here from the Atlanta Fire Department. They're starting to pack up a little bit. So this scene will decompress over the next half hour or so. And many of those parents who are waiting to connect with.
Okay. Y'all heard what's going on. Let's get back to the other link that we did have at first so we can see what's going on there. Because I think they got a little better information.
Oh, Kash Patel says, FBI Director Kash Patel says, pray for the family, friends, and colleagues of this hero who acted quickly to defend others and made the ultimate sacrifice. The FBI will offer them our full support. That's from Kash Patel, the FBI Director.
Hi, Janetta. Thank you for coming in, Janetta. We just got through watching a live press conference.
Yeah, I'll have to listen again to specific. Let me just play again the specific. You know what I'd like to hear again? I'd like to just hear the specific part of the press conference where the police chief said what the specifics about what happened. It's probably just a couple minutes long. So let me just put that, let me play that for you, because those are those specifics.
Yeah, I want to hear that part again, too.
And again, it's not that long. I think it's right. Let's see. Let's just hear what the police chief had to say when he summarized what happened. I'm getting it up for you right now on the screen. Give me a moment here. I'm putting it on the screen right now. All right, so
we are with
there's
you,
the
stand with
video.
you, and
This is not live. Replay of press conference. And here's what the chief of police had to say.
So this afternoon at approximately 4:50, the Atlanta 911 Center became aware of a report of an active shooter that was occurring at 1600 Clifton Road. This is right at the intersection of Clifton Road and CDC Parkway, immediately in front of the CDC campus. Officers from multiple agencies responded, from the campus, across the region, from our federal partners and our state partners responded to the scene. Officers arriving found a critically injured DeKalb County police officer that was down. He was immediately extracted from the scene and taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. Officers could still hear gunfire occurring inside the CVS drugstore that is right there at the intersections. Officers moved quickly to attempt to find the shooter and to neutralize the threat to the community. We later found the shooter on the second floor of the CVS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted. He was removed from the location by...
I could have swear I heard something different. I'm serious. I'm not just pausing just to be pausing. I did hear something a little different, not just with him or earlier press conference, but I heard something a little different when one of the witnesses spoke. And something ain't going right. I think something ain't going right. But we're going to let him finish talking.
Atlanta Fire Rescue to render aid. He did pass at the scene.
CVS.
We also know that the CDC campus did receive multiple rounds into their buildings. Right now, as the mayor stated, we are not aware of any injury that occurred to anyone on that location. 4 other individuals did later arrive at the hospital. They were treated for stress and anxiety symptoms. They were not injured in the shooting. And to reemphasize what the mayor stated, the children in the daycare center are unharmed. We have law enforcement and medical professionals with them, and we are coordinating the return of those children to their families. We've already put this out. We want to reemphasize it. The CDC leadership is communicating this to all parents, but the reunification site is at the Clifton School, which is located at 1900 Starvine Way, Starvin Way in Decatur. And we want to again reassure all parents and loved ones that their children are okay. We do believe there was a single shooter, and we do believe that single shooter is deceased. Right now, the investigation is being conducted by the Atlanta Police Department's Complex Case Squad, by the GBI and the FBI in a joint investigation until we know more information as to what transpired. The Atlanta Police Department is lifting up the DeKalb County officer, the DeKalb County Police Department in our prayers, and I ask everyone that is watching this broadcast to do the exact same thing. And I want to commend the men and women of law enforcement from all across this region that when this community needs them, no one shirked from the danger. And every officer from multiple districts responded and immediately moved to end this threat. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Paul Brown, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Atlanta Division. And like the chief...
So let me go to the Q&A now. So that was the basic summary.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out, The headline I have, literally the first word in the headline says report. It does not say confirmed Emory shooter targeted CDC over COVID vaccine. It says report. One report. It's not confirmed. What has been confirmed is that numerous shots were hit the CDC building or buildings. You just heard it. But the headline does not say confirmed. It literally says report. I mean, at a certain point, if people are just going to willfully ignore the word report in the headline, there's nothing I can do. But the headline is true. A report says that. That does not mean it's true. That's why I have the word report in the headline. We will see what happens. As soon as I get more information, I will let you know. I will as soon as I hear anything. Okay. All right. So let's listen to the Q&A and
he's like me.
I want to hear the part in the Q&A about when they talked about the suspect being known in some sense. So,
and don't forget.
I will say that the claim that the shooter targeted the CDC is supported by evidence that the CDC was hit with a number of bullets. We do know that's a fact. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But it is a fact confirmed by police that the CDC was hit by a number of bullets. We know that.
He is a known.
I did not hear in the very beginning where they said the shooter was inside the CVS. From my understanding, and when I saw it, an officer was around the corner shooting at a person on the ground around the corner. They was playing pow-pow. And then, or I shouldn't say pow-pow, but they were doing the pow-pow. But I could have sworn in the very beginning, that someone locked up and had everybody to get to the back. I didn't hear the inside until then. So something ain't making no sense. And that's why in the very beginning, I said an officer was down, was pow-powed, unalive, because that's what I heard too. So I think when things first started coming out, it was a lot of misinformation, because that's why I said what I said in the very beginning. But I retracted that when I did hear then saying he was taken to the hospital. That they didn't mention the unaliving then. So I retracted that. But So yeah, playback.
We'll start with you, Rob, over to Mayor's right.
Right.
Good evening, Mayor. Is it believed right now that the CDC was targeted in this attack?
Well, I'll let Chief Sherbaum ask anything around the investigation. He'll be able to answer that. But now,
this guy just asked, is it sure that the CDC was targeted? He scapegoated all around that. He didn't answer that question. Were they targeted or were they not? But then that's what you got. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just listening.
it's so preliminary. I read social media and I get calls from a number of you that have heard things about this individual's background. He's a white male.
I'll find another.
And he has a
major agency that's
he is a known
person
that may have some interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now with any confidence until the investigation is fully conducted. But
let's listen to that again. That's what the mayor said about the man.
I read social media and I get calls from a number of you that have heard things about this individual's background. He's a white male, and he has he is a known person that may have some interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now with any confidence.
He is a known person that has interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now.
Yeah.
So,
they
I mean,
must know it.
clearly, I'm not saying that I don't blame the mayor for not just saying everything he knows, but there's clearly more information here that the mayor and the police have. So, you know, there's some sort of beliefs that the person is known for having, and we have not publicly been told by police what that is yet, but, you know, he did say it. So we'll have to see what we hear as things go along. I'm just checking to see if we have anything. I'm checking a bunch of different sources to see if there's anything new.
And I'm checking to see what other news report got here.
Oh, let me just show you on a map, by the way. So here is the CVS where the person was found dead and where some of the incident took place was right here. That's the CVS, which is on campus at Emory University. The CDC is right there. That's the CDC right there. See it? CDC here.
That's a big difference.
That's the CDC. So CDC is here and the CVS is here.
But
this is the, you can see it says, it literally says Centers for
Okay, wait now. The CVS is there, guys, where the red mark at. The CDC is here. That's a long distance of walking if you're walking. Even in the car, that ain't like it's right across the street. There's other buildings or whatever this is going, and a big parking lot. Oh Lord. But we saw, there's a picture, a video I was showing that there was an officer right in where you can see my little pink, my little pointer is, there was an officer shooting, pounding around this corner. Looks just like that corner where that CPS is now. Wait now. Oh no, somebody is, they're getting us, no.
disease control and prevention. So, you know, it's quite close to the CVS.
It's close, but not that close.
I don't know if
it may be close, but not that close.
I don't know if where in the press conference was it said that there's 2 crime scenes? Let me just go back to the press conference.
Yeah, let's go back.
Continue to play the Q&A. Chris D, our viewer, says if bullets made it over there, it must have been a pretty strong rifle. Well, I don't know. Did the guy actually go over there and then go back to the CVS? I don't know for sure where the guy was the whole time. He was definitely at the CVS because they found him dead there.
Right.
But I don't know how close he got to that building, to those buildings. Yeah, some people are saying they didn't hear that specifically. Nina says 8:30 press conference at hospital. You know, that was mentioned by a reporter at the press conference that there might be a press conference coming up at the
I'll be
what is
here
this?
for that press conference. But I want you all to see this.
There
We're
might
going
be
to
a
come
press
back to
conference coming
him.
up at the hospital.
We're going to come back to him. Okay.
But that would be, I assume that would be about the officer who was taken to the hospital.
Yeah. But we're going to come back to him because I got something else I want y'all to see. Okay? Because this, somebody is, oh, wait, let me, okay, I'll pause him so we won't miss what he's saying. This is Atlanta News First. I think I did. This is live here, guys. This is live. 2 hours ago. So you can see this. It haven't been long that this happened. Okay. This is live too, but let's get to it.
Your wife was picking your son up and heard the gunshots for herself.
Okay. You was on my other channel, Sweetie. Because I got all three of them here. No matter what channel you're on, I'm able to see from all the channels. Thank you, Sweetie. Okay, let's see what she's saying.
Have you been able to talk to her?
I have been able to speak to her, and she's safe. They're safe, so that's relieving in some capacity.
What was that conversation like when you heard your wife share that with you? I can't imagine hearing my spouse tell me, I'm picking up our child and I'm hearing gunshots.
She couldn't call me because they were told to be quiet, so it was sent via text message, a short text message to let me know what was going on. Unfortunately, my car is in the shop right now, so I had to contact a neighbor to get down here, but I needed to get down here, so I need to see my son as quickly as possible, and my wife.
Knowing that they're okay, though, and she texting you that, has that helped at all during this just really difficult moment?
It does help, but the anxiety is still high. You know what I mean? I still haven't seen them. I still haven't held them, and that is my next priority, to get to them as quickly as possible, as soon as they will allow me to.
So there you go. You heard a little bit of that conversation that we had earlier today. I'm sorry, I'm holding my finger to my ear. There's a very loud train just about maybe 50 feet to my left here that's passing through at this time. But we're seeing more and more parents here of children from that daycare begin to arrive on Starvine Way here at the Clifton School. That's the reunification site. That's the site I was trying to recall when you first sent it to me here, Blair and Carly. Again, there's so much happening here, and you're just trying to take it in and trying to really understand and feel that emotion and that pain these parents are experiencing.
I'm trying to
There might be a
understand
moment,
what's
just
going
a
on
brief
myself.
euphoric moment when they see their child for the first time and hug them, but rest assured, long recovery. There's going to be a lot of emotion and trauma associated with this moment here in time, and so hopefully we'll speak with more parents, just get a sense of how they're doing, and for those.
Okay, let's go back to the news where they're analyzing this, because something ain't adding up. Okay, we're going to go back to him, because something ain't adding up. 1 and 1 equals 2, but seems like 1 and 1 is equaling something else right now. Okay.
You're saying at the end of the Q&A? Let's just check the Q&A again. I'll play this Q&A from you.
For this, until the investigation is fully conducted. But I think that in a short order, you'll know more about this individual and about some assumptions of his motives, but can't say right now.
Can you tell us anything more about the suspect? What kind of weapon did he use? How many rounds went into the CDC building?
Not yet. We can tell you multiple rounds were fired. We can tell you that multiple rounds were fired, both we believe at law enforcement and potentially at the CDC. Purposely, we can't say it definitively, but it would appear we can't rule that out right now.
Is that CVS a 2-story store, or was he in some other kind of?
I just want to repeat about, he said we can't confirm that the CDC was targeted.
Wait, now they
multiple
did.
rounds hit the CDC.
Wait, now.
Purposely.
We said they can't confirm, but other agencies said they confirmed the CDC was the target, not the. Oh Lord, somebody make this make sense.
Can't say it definitively, but it would appear we believe rounds were fired.
Yeah, he said it would appear.
We can tell you that multiple rounds were fired, both we believe at law enforcement and potentially at the CDC. Purposely, we can't say it definitively, but it would appear we can't rule that out right now.
Is that CVS a 2-story store, or was he in some other kind of place above the store?
We believe it's a multiple-story building, but he was on the second floor of the building that houses the CVS.
How do you believe it's a multiple-story building? When you go into CVS, you can tell whether it's a multiple. Even if you ain't police, you can just look and tell whether it's multiple, whether there's a second floor. That's something you should know. If he was unalived in the CVS, when you know what floor, if he was unalive on the second floor, then that means he was on the second floor. That means there's multiple floors. If he was on the first floor, then you say the first floor. And then you may say, well, I'm not sure about any other floors, but he was unalive on the first floor. They breaking my brain cells
Can't
up.
really be said at this time.
Did the man live in that building?
Allow me to let someone else ask a question. Anyone over here at New York Times?
So this shooting comes on the heels of a few other high-profile shootings, including the one in Fort Stewart, including numerous on Edgewood and some other neighborhoods. I'm curious to what extent can the city confront what seems to be a rash of gun violence without state-level intervention?
So your question around a number of high-profile shootings, Fort Stewart, here at Emory, and others across the nation and in the state of Georgia, is definitely one that we have to pay attention to. Mass shootings, active shooter scenarios should not become the norm. We have a number of individuals in this country that have access to high-powered weapons. And for individuals with those high-powered weapons that may have mental challenges, or those individuals with high-powered weapons that are angry, when they choose to use those weapons in a way that harms multiple people, we have to put an end to that in our society. So this is something we do have to have a national and a state, a full conversation across the nation and across the state of Georgia, not just in one city. As you see, this is a coordinated effort across DeKalb, across college campuses, the FBI, the GBI. As you see active shooters across the nation, we've just been added to the statistic.
You said right here in black shirt. Thank you. We are hearing that the officer passed away. So he was critically injured and he passed away?
Well, at this time, it is a DeKalb County officer, and we want to make sure that DeKalb County is able to respond to what's going on with that officer. We know that he was shot and critically injured, and at this time, as I stand here, I can't give you that information that you just asked. We have the PIO of DeKalb County here, and as I said, in short order, you will hear from the DeKalb County Chief and the DeKalb County CEO.
You got the
Can I
way.
ask, why was the DeKalb officer there? I know this area is kind of on that border, but just talk about that maybe Chief Sheriff or you, Mr. Mayor.
I want to talk about how mutual aid and how we're all kind of together.
This is an area that is part of the city limits, but inside of DeKalb County, so it's not uncommon for patrol patterns to cross for multiple jurisdictions. They may share the space. We don't know why the officer was there. Was he going to work? Was he coming home from work? We don't know if he was on patrol. We will know that at the end of the investigation.
Do you want to give an update?
So we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter.
So you can't.
Yes, we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter.
Can you give an update on the condition? There have been several media reports that he's passed away or she.
So we can't confirm that at this time. Like Mayor said previously, our interim chief Pedrick will be here to provide an update. I just don't have that information readily available.
So we are, both Chief and Mayor, if you can, we're getting reports that maybe the suspect who was known had some issues with the CDC because he was upset about the COVID vaccine and he thought it made him sick. Is there any way you guys can maybe address that, and maybe if he was targeting the CDC because of the vaccine?
We cannot confirm at this time. This is in the early stages of the investigation. The same questions you have, law enforcement has. And so everything that is the question of the nation, we're going to get the answer to, and we'll be able to report back as soon as we can.
Univision.
We're hearing this maybe for the cab, but was this officer a rookie officer? We heard basically he was almost ambushed a little bit when he actually arrived on the scene.
So any information about the officer will come from interim chief Pedrick later this evening, including his status and how long he was with the department.
All right.
Is the white car with the trunk open and shot up, is that connected to the suspect?
It's part of the crime scene at this time. We can't confirm if it was the car that the suspect drove, but it is being searched by the police and it's being held as evidence.
We're going to take the last question right here.
Do you guys have a timeline of when the gunfire was called in and how quickly officers responded and how quickly the suspect was essentially.
4:50 p.m. is when the first call came in. Law enforcement arrived very, very quickly thereafter. Oftentimes when officers arrive, they're so quickly engaged in the scene they can't radio out. So we'll be reviewing all video to determine when the first officers arrived. But the response was from multiple agencies. I wish I could name everyone right now, but the citizens of the Atlanta region should be proud of their law enforcement today.
Yeah, as she stated, this was a coordinated effort. When I was here around 5:15 or so, I was seeing not only DeKalb County and Atlanta, we were seeing Gwinnett County. We saw officers from Dunwoody. We saw, of course, Emory, the FBI, GBI, Georgia State Patrol. Everyone was responding because there were shots being fired, calls for shot being fired right there in front of the CDC, and then shots fired inside of the CVS. And so you're hearing, everyone responded. It was hundreds of officers as well.
Okay, guys. From him, I think I'm not sure whether it's the same setup where they got, but this one looks like it may be in front of a different building where they're going to do the press conference later on tonight. Let me just bring it to you. This looked like a different location where they just was standing. Let me look at that location again. Give me 1 second.
There were a number of DeKalb County police officers outside of the hospital where that officer was taken.
This is live.
We saw
Let me just
from
turn
the
it up.
report of Brendan Keefe that family members were going inside of the hospital. We know a number of different officers were there showing their support. And so we are awaiting official word, official confirmation. As you said, we have heard that an officer has lost their life today. And we are waiting to get the official word from the DeKalb County police chief. But from all law enforcement agencies, what we witnessed today, bravery, heroism, a coordinated and a very large scale response from.
And see, somebody got inside. Somebody typed in right up in here inside this chat. Let me show it to you. Right there where my right there where it's got officer unalive. And see somebody else up here saying, my brother saw the cop get unalive. He was looking out the window. So why is people keep talking about an officer that got unalive? See, I heard that earlier. And it said, praying for the officer family. And then somebody else got one officer unalive. So I don't know. And they saying the CDC is across the street from the college, from Emory. See, that's the CVS. Y'all see the CVS? So I'm not saying the officer's dead, but a lot of people keep spouting that. They keep talking about it. Just like I thought, I could have sworn I heard that, and I ain't not saying no R, but maybe somebody just misspoke. And see, somebody else just put it down here lately, down at the very bottom, the third one from the bottom. It says, what Chuck says, the cop unalive, unfortunately. You see that? Isn't that misleading information? And this is not muted. It's not muted. It's just, oh, yes, it is. I lied. It is unmuted.
This officer played from DeKalb County could be
okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Here today, and
we're going to hear what they're trying to say.
More from happening today.
I'm going to mute myself so we can hear what they're saying. I'm going to put the caption up so we can make sure we know what they're. No, it's not letting me do the caption because it's live.
Appeared around the CVS firing bullets. Here it is right here, and you can hear
See there?
the gun.
See there? You all see? Let me show you. Did not see there? That's what I was talking about. See that officer right there? Isn't he outside firing around the corner? And then didn't somebody say he was inside the building unalive? Now, which is it? I'm talking about the perpetrator.
Fire. This witness described it as a shootout between police and this suspect. And for it all to unfold right here in the heart of our community, this is something people don't get past very quickly.
In a busy Friday evening, we know this
You
is a
can
very
hear this
populated
sound.
area. Businesses here, restaurants here, people working in the area and studying in the area. And we do want to point out, we have here we see this is an image. That's that slide that I was talking about. Again, if you don't know what you're looking at first,
Right.
it's maybe hard to conceptualize what you're seeing, but that was what appeared to be a bullet hole in the window of the CDC office. And then now we see
Let me answer
just
this
how
phone.
close this playground, this daycare was to where this took place. And despite the law enforcement scene that is out there tonight, we do want to emphasize officials are telling us that there is no further threat to the public tonight. I know that it's hard to quell those fears and concerns when there has been so much activity and so much stress and anxiety. But as you said, they do say that there was one suspected shooter and they are now deceased.
And the big question in all this will be the motive and behind all this. And there was some reporting from CNN, and as a CNN affiliate, we were sharing some of that reporting that they were saying the CDC was the target of all this by the suspected gunman. And you really do have to feel for the employees. I know our staff has been speaking with some of those CDC employees today who heard the gunfire, saw their windows shattered from that gunfire, and how they return to work with everything they have been through over the last year, and now this. Certainly, thoughts are with them.
Just so alarming to see. And I imagine the person who took these images, the CDC employee that provided these images to Atlanta News First, if you work in this building and you see something like that at your place of work, however far from your office, from where you do your job day to day. Again, this is a Friday evening. People probably just about to head home for the day, head home for the evening and enjoy their weekend. And now having to contend with something like this, to have this sort of fear and trepidation at their own place of work.
And wondering how you come back to it.
Okay, guys, we're not going to hold long
Something
because
like this.
if they do come back,
I always get so
I'll just,
concerned, and
what
you
I'll
also,
do,
sadly, these
I can just
do
record it
often,
and just play it as
always
a
people
just a
respond
video
to this
for y'all to
for
see,
weeks
okay?
and months
Or tell you about it
experience
tomorrow.
something that is
All right,
so
guys, I'm not going to hold long.
so
We've been on for an hour and
shattered.
32
How do
minutes
you
because
everybody
they
moves on,
seem like they're
we're
doing
on
more
this world so
speculations than
quickly,
anything.
how do people who truly are
Okay,
impacted by this
seem like that's what they're
come back in
doing.
the weeks and the months? And
So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Pause that because they're just speculating now. We'll hear what's going to happen later when the officer do their second press conference. Okay, probably outside the. I'm not sure what they're going to do again. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and let that be that. Y'all can see how it was and how it is. It's just mayhem. Mayhem. I'm going to just, all we can do is pray for the families involved and pray for the victims. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. I'll check on y'all later. Bye-bye.